When we started a figure review of this wave, you could say that we planted a seed. Time to take a look at the tree. Welcome back to another toy review here on my channel. Hi, I do these for fun because I love buying these things, and I know that when I want to buy an action figure, sometimes it's useful to look at a toy review here on the YouTubes and see whether or not it's worth the price, the cost of admission into my home and shelf space that it's going to take up. Today we are looking at the last figure in the Build-A-Figure Korg wave, Groot. One of the Guardians of the Galaxy, Groot, is making his reappearance in the MCU in the fourth Thor movie. And this figure is technically a re-release, but it's also quite heavily retooled. Let's take a look at his detailed and extensive bio. I am Groot. Sounds about right. I love that. That's such a fun little detail. He doesn't get a bio, he just gets that. Brilliant. Last figure that we had to collect, of course, after Thor the Ravager version, the Mighty Thor, Jane Foster herself, King Valkyrie, Gore the God Butcher, and Star-Lord, man. We got them all. They're all back there. The figures I've just mentioned are all there just chilling on the shelf. They are missing one member of the team. So without further ado, let's open this box and gaze upon our dear Groot. Before we do anything else with this as Guardian of the Galaxy, he is a re-release, sort of, reissue of a Toys R Us triple pack based on Infinity War, which featured an eye-patched thunder-wielding Thor holding Heimdall's sword, a Rocket Raccoon, which was a variant of the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 action figure with a different weapon, and a Teenage Groot, the only version of the Teenage Groot that was available in Marvel Legends Wave. How they compare is rather interesting. The original release is darker but with more greenery, and let's be honest, really inaccurate eyes compared to this guy. The head shapes, though evocative of the same design, are actually different, and it makes me think that the sculpt is mostly a redo. Curiously, I've seen people complain about the eyes of the older one online, and I think it's because they're sort of orangey yellow with dots, whereas Groot's eyes do have like orange irises in them. But from the outside, they look more just like shining black with a flicker of orange. So this one, just having black pupils, does sit much nicer than the other figure where he's just got big orange circles drawn on instead of faint orange ones. I think, technically, both of them are accurate, but neither of them are right. I guess I would never really notice the discrepancy with mine because he's always just up there. He's always looking at his tablet, so I never really see its face. Articulation is as thus. Pivot and swivel in the ankle, a singular knee joint which can also turn sideways and swivel. He's got just a joint at the crotch, no waist swivel but a rib crunch, moves at the shoulders, movement at the elbow, movement at the wrists, with the head on a peg joint, which actually allows for a nice range of movement from Groot. Considering he's got a very grumpy face, you can have him looking sullen, bored, quizzical, all thanks to how much he can move his big old tree head. Groot's accessories include a gun-holding hand, a big bloody gun, which I can't recall if we've seen in anything else, but it must be in this movie, and two tendril accessories, which allow for extensive posing and just give a bit of tree-based variety to the figure. Prior Groots haven't really had this feature, but you know, in the films he uses vines and tendrils to smack people around or grab at things, so it seems fair that we finally have a Groot figure that can do that. The pegs are quite small, so probably not compatible with any earlier Groot figures, I imagine. Chances are this is only really going to work with this guy, but it's still a nice inclusion, and the vines themselves are very, very detailed. There's not too much more to say on this toy, other than I like his attitude. He comes across as stroppy. Even his sort of standard stance is kind of slumped. His posture's awful. He is a teenager. I can relate. I also was a teenager. I'm now 31 and my posture's shocking still. He goes well alongside the Star-Lord and Ravager Thor of this set, and hey, it means that we have a nice as Guardians of the Galaxy building. Again, I think it's a shame that we got Star-Lord again instead of like Mantis, who was only ever a Build-A-Figure in the past, but whatever. Speaking of Build-A-Figure, Groot comes with the final piece of the Korg Build-A-Figure, the torso and crutch, which is pretty damn detailed, but we will get into his detailed crutch in an upcoming video when we look at Korg and review the wave as a whole. What do you think of Groot based on Thor Love and Thunder? Do you like the toy? You're going to be picking this one up? I imagine this is going to be one of the more popular figures of the wave, since it was a hard to get hold of version in the past, and also people love Groot. Do you find this review useful? Do you think the toy looks cool? Let me know in the comments. You could also give the video a thumbs up. If you want to support me in a slightly less free way, you can go to the Amazon wishlist or PayPal links in the description. Put to order toy. Make sure to let me know it was you so I can give you a shout out in a future review. No obligation. Obviously, the only obligation you have is to have a nice day. And come back here for the Korg review when we do it. Alright? Good. Don't mess me around.